The grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 1. The grandson of Garp, scare Luffy with a ghost-back author, Angel Wushuang. Once through the pirates, Luan became the son of Monkey D. Dragon, a grandfather named Monkey D. Carp, and an unreliable and neurotic younger brother named Luffy. Fortunately, the ghost-back system is activated. The completion of the ghost-back is 10%, and the training effect is increased by 100 times. The completion of the ghost-back is 20%, and the training effect is increased by 1,000 times. One day, Luan, a ghost-backed master, appeared in front of Luffy, who was shouting to go to sea, and made Luffy cry on the spot. "Luffy, the pirates in the sea are all monsters like my brother. I don't want to go out to sea." Garp, for a long time, the two boys, Long and Luffy, with small arms and calves, I really doubt that they are not my sons and grandsons. Like Luan, they are the grandsons of the old man. Waring states, the strongest creature in the sea, land and air is Kaido. No, it's Luan. Chapter 1. The grandson of Garp, have a system. One more. This day. The wind is sunny and the sun is shining. East China Sea. Goya Kingdom, Windmill Village. Back Mountain. A 3-year-old boy was sweating profusely, with a determined face, and he was constantly doing push-ups. Sweat beads the size of soybeans were rolling down his forehead. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. The bright sunlight scattered from the sky, imprinted on the boy's body. Although he looks young on the outside, he already has ambiguous muscle lines on his body, showing the effective results of his hard work on weekdays. With a thin body with muscular lines, it contains an explosive power and beauty like a tiger and a wealthy wolf. I see. While doing push-ups, the boy kept his mouth shut. 995. 996. 997. 1000. After doing 1,000 push-ups, Luan lay sluggishly on the green grass next to him, and his tired limbs were accompanied by bursts of soreness. The breeze was blowing, and the white clouds fluttered. Luan closed his eyes slightly and looked up at the blue sky. With his back against the green grass, there was an icy cold touch. At this moment, he relaxed his entire body and mind, and a sense of exhaustion flooded his body, making him wish he could sleep soundly right away. It's been 3 years since I came to this world. To this day, it still feels a bit like a dream. Whenever he was exhausted, Luan would always think of it. One day 3 years ago, he inexplicably crossed into this world and became a newborn baby. Good. Luan is an out-and-out traveler. Of course, Luan is no stranger to such things as time travel these days. But what he didn't expect was the world that came through is actually the world of One Piece, which is in danger. Luan, who learned the truth, was in a complicated mood. Fortunately, his ability to accept is very strong, and he quickly accepted the fact of crossing into the world of One Piece. In the days to come, Luan gradually came to know his origin. I actually became the son of the founder of the Revolutionary Army, Monkey D. Long. The son of the most vicious criminal in the world. I also have a grandpa named Monkey D. Carp. Called a naval hero. There is a younger brother named Luffy who is about to be born. With such a prominent background, Luan should have been ecstatic. I don't know why. Just thinking about it, the soon-to-be-born younger brother Luffy, with his nervous personality, will definitely cause countless troubles in this sea of crises. Suddenly, this gave Luan a headache. With such a stupid younger brother on the stall, he could only accept it reluctantly. Over the past 3 years. Except when he was just born, Luan had never seen his mysterious cheap father Long. That is to say, in the past 3 years, Luan was brought up by Garp. After his grandfather Kapuna's inhuman torture, Luan nearly survived in life-and-death crises for many times, thus exercising a strong wildness and strength, as well as tenacious vitality. Although Luan is only 3 years old, he is already an uncompromising, little, strong man. In Windmill Village, it can basically be said that there is no rival. Garp's training method is very simple. Luan is often left alone in those barren mountains and ridges. In the name of exercising Luan's ability to survive in the wild, but in fact Garp is too lazy to take children. Under Garp's training, it has to be said that Luan is very lucky to be alive today. After a while, Luffy will be born. Luan narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking in his heart. In the past 3 years, he has completely adapted to his identity. It can be said without exaggeration. He has the most powerful identity background in the world. At the same time, this powerful identity background will definitely bring him a series of countless troubles and disasters in the future. So, Luan made up his mind a long time ago to become stronger. Fortunately, as a qualified traverser, it is natural to have no system. I, the grandson of Garp, have a system. Luan showed a bright smile. He thought silently in his heart. System, bring up my current properties panel. A thought fell. Immediately after, a virtual attribute panel appeared in Luan's eyes. Host, Luan. Strength, 4.1. Speed, 3.9. Physical strength, 4.3. Ghost back completion, 9.99%. The overall improvement of the training effect, 10 times. Total obtained in this practice, strength plus 0.02, speed plus 0.01, physical strength plus 0.03. The system that Luan activated was called the Ghost Back system. The purpose is to make him stronger and hone a perfect Ghost Back. Through a series of training, make your Ghost Back more and more perfect. This is the main goal of the system. While Luan was exercising, the Ghost Back system would also bring him some help. For example, the overall improvement of the training effect. In other words, the overall effect of Luan's practice can be increased tenfold in all aspects. This is the power of the Ghost Back system. And the tenfold cultivation effect is only because of Luan's completion of the Ghost Back, which is only 9.99%. Once the threshold of 10% is exceeded, the training effect will definitely usher in a huge increase again. By the time, maybe 50 times, possibly 100-fold. Even hundreds of times. Thousands of times. Let's imagine. Luan, who originally had a very strong physical talent, also has hundreds of thousands of times the cultivation effect. In time, how powerful will Luan be? At that time, the strength that others have cultivated for a full 10 years has improved. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 2. Maybe at Luan's place, he only needs to practice for 1 day. At this time, the system beep sounded again. After this training effect has been increased by 10 times, the host can obtain strength plus 0.2, speed plus 0.1, stamina plus 0.3. Fall with the sound of the system. A warm current emerged out of thin air, swept through Luan's body instantly, and crazily integrated into his body's blood and bones, strengthening all aspects of his body's attributes. Greatly increase his strength. Instantly. When Luan checked his attribute panel again, the properties panel has undergone a lot of changes. Host, Luan. Strength, 4.3, plus 0.2. Speed, 4, plus 0.1. Physical strength, 4.6, plus 0.3. Ghost back completion, 9.99%. The overall improvement of the current training effect, 10 times. This is the increase in strength that Luan has obtained after the tenfold increase. For each of the three-dimensional attributes, ordinary people only have the value of 1. That is to say, Luan, who is only 3 years old now, already possesses powerful strength, speed and physical strength far exceeding that of ordinary adult strong men. Without any exaggeration, Luan, who is only 3 years old, can pick over dozens of ordinary adult strong men with one hand. Almost. Just break through the 10% ghost back completion progress. By the time the training effect has been improved again, 50 times, or 100 times. Luan's eyes were full of anticipation. He had a strong premonition in his heart. This time, Once the completion of the ghost back reaches 10%, then the 10 times the original cultivation effect of oneself will surely usher in an earth-shaking huge improvement. Chapter 200 times the effect of cultivation. Luffy is born. Second update. Finally. With the unremitting efforts of Luen. Experiencing horrific devil-style training every day is simply crazy self-destruction. Not only is the body suffering from painful training, but even the spirit is constantly tormented. Then. That's it. 10 days later. Luen successfully raised the completion of the ghost back to 10%. Success. The completion of the ghost back has finally reached 10%. This time, how much will my cultivation effect be improved? Luen clenched his fists with anticipation. Just after a devil-style training, his whole body was stained with sweat, and the clothes on his body were naturally firmly attached to his body, and a cold feeling spread throughout his body. Then. In Luen's ear, the system prompt sounded. Congratulations to the host, the completion of the ghost back has reached 10%. The overall improvement of the current training effect, 100 times. Lying trough. 100 times the cultivation effect. Luen's eyes widened. A 3-year-old body full of muscular lines seems to be more oppressive than a 10-year-old boy. 100 times. That is to say, the increase in strength I get from practicing for 1 day is the total amount that others need to practice for 100 days. My 3 days of practice can be compared to others' nearly 1 year of practice. At this moment, he was ecstatic. 3 days of cultivation is comparable to the achievements of others in 1 year of cultivation. What is this concept? A month of cultivation is similar to the effect of others who practice for 10 years. Thinking of this, Luen was excited. He couldn't imagine. According to such an improvement speed, when his ghost back completion rate reaches 20%, how huge an increase will his own cultivation effect be? 200 times. 300 times. Or 1,000 times. By the time. I'm afraid that 1 day of cultivation can be compared to a year of others. Next. Luen suppressed his inner excitement and hurriedly started a new round of cultivation. Seeing a 100-fold increase in the training effect. He is so invigorated. Full of energy. Then. Luen started 1,000 push-ups without hesitation. First. The second. The sun shone down from the sky and shone on Luen's thin but muscular body, witnessing his own efforts. Time flickers. An hour later. Luen finished the training. And get very rich training results. A total of gains in this practice: strength plus 0.01, speed plus 0.01, physical strength plus 0.01. After a 100-fold increase in the training effect, the host can obtain strength plus 1, speed plus 1, stamina plus 1. Next second. At the moment when the sound of the system just fell, a warm current that appeared out of thin air merged into Luen's body, enhancing his physical strength. In a while, Luen suddenly opened his eyes, feeling the incomparably powerful body at the moment, and subconsciously clenched his fists, which contained an explosive sense of power. Got stronger. With just one workout, you've made yourself a lot stronger. System, bring up the properties panel. Suppressing his excitement, Luen quickly checked his current attribute changes. Host, Luen. Strength, 6.7, plus 1. Speed, 6.1, plus 1. Physical strength, 7.1, 1. Ghost back completion, 10%. The overall improvement of the current training effect, 100 times. The effect of today's practice. In general, it's almost the same as Luen's training effect in the previous 10 days. Ha ha ha. Seeing the huge change in his attribute panel, Luen couldn't help laughing. With 100 times the effect of cultivation. Why can't you get stronger? Even the simplest basic exercise method is enough to make his three-dimensional attributes pile up to a terrifying level that can be called a monster. Not to mention, once Luen is exposed to the three-color domineering cultivation method, his strength will inevitably usher in an extremely terrifying surge and leap forward. Just 1,000 miles a day. Now. Luan can't wait to find his grandfather Garp and find a way to cultivate three-color domineering. He's sure to do it. Master the three-color domineering before the age of 4. At the age of 5, he has cultivated the three-color domineering to Xiaocheng. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 3. 6 years old. Cultivating the three-color domineering to the ultimate. Luan, who has 100 times the effect of cultivation, is completely confident that he can do all the above ideas. If it is only 10 times the effect of the previous cultivation, he naturally does not have such great confidence. But now everything is different. 100 times the training effect. Let Luan's practice in one day be comparable to that of others in 100 days. The three-color domineering that others need years to master. But at Luan's place, he may only need half a month, or only a month, to easily master the three-color domineering. This is the terrifying thing about the 100-fold increase in cultivation. It's time to go back to the village. After a while, Luan dragged his tired and sore body, and slowly stood up from the green grass. His muscular body was already covered with sweat, and his back had some indentations and stains from weeds. Even if the intensity of training is intense, it must be relaxed. Otherwise, it will definitely cause some irreversible dark injuries to Luan's 3-year-old body, leaving hidden dangers. And this, of course, was not what he wanted. Now, Luan, who has 100-fold increase in cultivation effect, doesn't care if he is a little lazy. During the return from the back mountain to the windmill village, Luan met Grandpa Garp. But when he saw Luan's shirtless upper body, his young body was already covered with muscular lines, which made Garp feel relieved. Go to the back mountain again to practice. Garp was wearing a black suit and wrapped his burly and sturdy body. His eyes looked at Luan carefully, and his eyes flickered with a hint of amazement. He can feel it. His grandson Luan has become stronger again. And this time, the magnitude of the increase is even more obvious. Obviously, getting stronger is more than 1.5 stars as simple as that. As expected of the grandson of the old man. Have unparalleled talent. Compared to the boy with thin arms and legs, Luan Kai is more like the grandson of the old man. Good. Qualified to inherit the old man and become a hero of the new generation of the Navy. Long boy, the most correct thing he has done in his life is to give birth to Luan. Garp is very satisfied with Luan's grandson. Grandpa, what's the matter? In 3 years, Luan naturally completely adapted to his identity. Therefore, calling Garp Grandpa is not a mouthful at all, and it doesn't make Luan feel the slightest embarrassment. Correct. Almost forgot about it. On the way back to Windmill Village with Luan, Garp said casually, "You are going to have a younger brother, his name is Monkey D. Luffy. In another month, your father will take your brother back to Windmill Village. This bastard, every time he gives birth to a son, he brings it to the old man to help him raise it. It's a waste of life. It's not easy for this old man to be at this age. I was thinking about retirement. I didn't expect that your father, this bastard, would bring a lot of trouble to the old man every time." Listening to Garp's blaring whining along the way, Luan couldn't help narrowing his eyes slightly. Of course he could hear. Although Garp was complaining on the surface, he still couldn't hide the joy in his words. Immediately, there was something intriguing in Luan's eyes. "My stupid little brother. Have you been born yet?" From the back mountain back to the windmill village. It is evening. Sunset. The figure of the person was gradually elongated and became inclined. Before leaving, Garp reminded Luan, "By the way, there is one more thing. Tomorrow, I will take you to meet someone your age. You will live there for a long time in the future. He is also my grandson, so he is your brother." But what does this kid say? He has a very naughty personality. But with your strength, if you think about it, you will most likely be able to take good care of his spirit. Don't be soft on the old man, you must give the old man a good treatment for him. In particular, take this kid's idea of going to sea as a pirate, and let this old man get rid of it as soon as possible. As the grandson of this old man, how can he go to sea and become a pirate? In the future, he must become an excellent navy. Words fell. A playful smile appeared on Luan's face. Understood. Another brother? That is. Is it Ace? Understood. Chapter 3 Meeting Ace. Defeat Ace with one hand. 3 more. The next day. The sun was rising, and the golden sun was shining from the sky. Early morning. There is still a little mist in the air, but the simple villagers of Windmill Village have already started their own work, and they are very busy. Early in the morning. Garp led Luen from Windmill Village to Kalpo Mountain next door. All the way across the Windmill Village, Luen greeted the village chief and his fellow villagers with a smile. Over the past 3 years, Luen was completely integrated into Windmill Village and became one with the villagers. He was so familiar that he couldn't be more familiar. Boy Luen, do you know where the old man is going to take you? On the road, Garp asked. Do not know. Although he had a hunch in his heart, Luen did not take the initiative to mention it. He guessed. Most of the time, he took himself to the place where Ace stayed. That is. Darden family. A bandit family. As the leader of the bandit family, the Dan, although he has a bad personality, is an uncompromisingly kind person. Otherwise, Garp would naturally not be able to let him go and live in the Korpo Mountains next to Windmill Village. Kolbo Mountain, where the Darden family lived, was where Ace lived when he was young. So. Since Garp said that yesterday, Luen has had an accurate guess about it. The place where the old man took you today is Korbo Mountain, where a group of bandits live. From now on, you will live with these bandits. Are you scared? Garp looked at Luen, who was only 3 years old beside him. Heard. Luen shook his head. Good boy. Garp laughed, don't worry, that group of bandits have made many mistakes and sins. But in fact, they are still a group of kind bandits. Otherwise, the old man would have sent them to the naval prison long ago. With the strength of your kid Luen, there's really no need to be afraid of them. According to Garp. Even though Luen is only 3 years old, he already possesses the strength far beyond that of ordinary adults. Although Dan's band of bandits are stronger than ordinary adults, they are not much stronger. For Luen to live with this group of bandits, Garp doesn't need to worry at all. Correct. Let me explain the situation to you in advance. The old man wants to introduce to a peer you know, his name is Ace. About half a year younger than you. He has been living with that group of bandits since he was born, and he has more or less acquired some bad characters. If you meet him, if he has a bad attitude towards you, you can directly subdue him. Living there, strength is everything. Whoever has the bigger fist is justified. While introducing, Garp took Luen to Mount Kalpo. An hour later. Luen looked at the majestic mountain in front of him. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 4. Green trees. Very lush. The area of the mountain range is very large, and the diameter of the extension is probably no less than several hundred kilometers. This is a very large mountain. Go into the mountain. Garp led Luen into the Korpo Mountain in front of him. It took another half an hour or so. The two arrived at their destination. In the center of the huge mountain range, stands a huge wooden house. There are many colorful clothes hanging on the wire in front of the house. There are men and women, old and young. From here it can be seen that there are many people living in this house. Garp came to the closed door, raised his iron fist unceremoniously and knocked on the door. Bang bang bang. The loud knock on the door seemed to break the door. The huge door was knocked faintly with some cracks. Crunch. The door was open from the inside. A fat middle-aged woman with a ferocious appearance looked at the person in front of the door angrily, biting a cigarette at the corner of her mouth, and blurted out subconsciously, "Which is in front of my door? It's not over yet." When I saw Garp's expressionless face in front of the door. Immediately. The fat woman shivered, and the cigarette she was biting at the corner of her mouth fell. Garp. She widened her eyes with fear and apprehension on her face, and the anger that had risen in her heart had disappeared without a trace. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Let you help me take another child. From today, he lives here and lives with you. His name is Luen, my grandson." Garp's figure sighed. Let Luen appear under the eyes of the fat woman Dedan. Your grandson. It's your grandson again. How many grandsons do you have? Ace, this bastard, has already given us a headache and made our entire Dedan family jump around. Now, you have brought another grandson. Dedan's eyelids jumped, and he hurriedly looked at Luen, who was standing beside Garp. Although Luen is only 3 years old, due to his regular devil-like training, his body has grown far beyond that of ordinary people, and he is about the size of a 5 or 6-year-old child. Even with clothes on, he still couldn't hide the bulging muscles in Luen's body. As the leader of the bandit family, Dedan could feel a powerful aura coming from Luen's body at first sight, which made her feel a little oppressed. This made her gasp in amazement. As expected of the grandson of Garp. Sure enough, there are enough monsters. Such a young age can bring such a strong sense of oppression to himself. Compared to Ace. This kid in front of him is obviously even more terrifying. Do you bring it? A word. Garp looked down at Dedan condescendingly, his eyes flashed a little sharply. Bring. Of course. How dare I refuse Mr. Garp's request? Darren panicked. Being watched by Garp's eyes made her hairy and goosebumps pop up. Under the pressure of Garp, Dedan had to accept Luen to join the Dedan family and become a boarder living in the Dedan family from now on. Originally there was only one Ace. Now, there is one more Luen. And what makes Dedan feel helpless is Luen in front of her gave her a much stronger sense of oppression than Ace. It is good. After receiving Dedan's answer, Garp showed a satisfied smile. After the conversation changed, he asked, "Where's Ace? Where did this kid go? Let him come out." Ace. "Mr. Garp is here for you." Dedan shouted back. In a while. A short boy with freckles came out impatiently and glanced at Garp casually. "Old man, why are you here?" "Bastard. Call it Grandpa." Garp was furious. "Humph." Ace snorted, but his eyes began to focus on Luen, who was standing beside Garp. "He's your eldest brother, Luen." Introducing Garp. "My big brother? He's not qualified enough." Ace sneered, disapprovingly. "Teach him a lesson. This wicked boy should be ruthlessly cured of his spirit." Garp said to Luen beside him. "Clear." Luen smiled. From the moment Ace appeared, his eyes were fixed on the other side. He can be sure. Ace is still very weak now. Even an ordinary adult strong man, Ace may not be able to defeat. By contrast, Luen, who already has 7 or 8 times the strength and speed of ordinary adults, is naturally much stronger than Ace. The two are almost incomparable. "Hey, boy, are you going to do something to me?" "Sure. If you lose later, don't cry." Ace looked at Luen lightly, with a confident expression on his face. "I see." Luen slowly raised his right hand, put his left hand on his back, and faced Ace with one hand. "To deal with you, one hand is enough." "You." Ace was furious. He yelled and rushed to Luen, determined in his heart that he would teach Luen a lesson and let the other party see his ability. But at the moment of approaching Luen, on one side of Luen's figure, he easily avoided it. Extremely fast. It was so close that Ace couldn't react. Even faintly left a vague afterimage on the spot. Good speed. Ace's pupils shrank, and he flung himself into the air, almost staggering and falling to the side. Fine. He stabilized in time. But before Ace could react, Luen shot. His right hand stuck out and pinched the back of Ace's neck directly. Then, with one arm, he pressed Ace the floor tile. Boom. A soft sound. Luen slowly sat on Ace's back, unable to move the ladder. Face to face all the way. Ace was subdued by Luan with one hand. It's a no-brainer. Simple. Easily. Your name is Ace, right? I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 5. You lose. From now on, remember to call me Big Brother. After. In this sea, I will cover you. Luan looked at with a smile, and Ace was struggling on the ground at the moment. Chapter 4 Spiritual Power Improvement. Overlord awakens. For more flowers. Ask for a ticket. Let go, let me go. You sneak attack. It doesn't count just now. Ace was pressed to the ground and struggled constantly, gnashing his teeth, looking at Luan who was pressing his body angrily. Use both hands and feet to keep hitting the floor tiles on the ground. Don't you understand yet? Luan said to Ace with great interest, the gap between you and me is not a star and a half. Now you are not even qualified to be my opponent. Although, you are about the same age as me. Heard. Ace gritted his teeth, and his struggling movements gradually became weaker. He was silent. Really? As Luan said just now, he really felt it deeply. The sense of terror and oppression brought by Luan. This was the first time in his life that he felt such a strong sense of oppression from his peers. He knows. Even if he did his best, he would never be Luan's opponent. All right. You two have to get along well. Ace, remember to become an excellent navy in the future. Seeing Ace's aggrieved and helpless appearance, Garp's smile became even brighter. Old man, who wants to be a navy? I'm going to be a pirate. Ace was not convinced. Little devil. Garp's forehead bulged with blue veins, and he clenched his fists. But his iron fist still didn't hit Ace, and resisting the urge in his heart, he said goodbye to Dayton. These two little devils will be handed over to you to take care of them. Finished speaking. Garp turned to leave. Luan, don't forget that in a month, your father will take your brother back to Windmill Village. Leaving this sentence, Garp left without looking back. Damn Garp. If I can't beat you. Dayton looked at the back of Garp's departure with a look of anger and helplessness. Looking around. She looked at Luan and Ace next to her. Okay, boy Luan, come with me, I'll arrange a room for you. Then. Luan released Ace's right hand and stood up slowly. Humph. Ace jumped and stood up immediately, his eyes full of vigilance and anger staring at Luan, his eyes full of fighting intent and fierceness. To this. Luan smiled, disapprovingly. Turn around. Follow Dayton into the huge house. Hateful. Want me to call you Big Brother? Dream. One day, I will definitely defeat you and let you call me Big Brother. Ace gritted his teeth, thinking angrily in his heart. With anger, he turned and rushed out of the gate, stepping into the dense forest of the Corpo Mountains, looking for some beasts as targets for tempering battles. The other side. After following the Dan to a relatively small room, Luan knew that this should be where he would live in the future. Little devil, this is your room. But if you want to integrate into our Dayton family, I have to tell you some rules. Our Dayton family does not raise idlers or waste. Ace has been hunting for food since he was very young. It is for this reason that our Dayton family recognizes him. If you can't do it and contribute to the Dayton family, we will never give you free food. The Dan reminded the will seriously, clear. Luan nodded. If that's the case, then I won't bother you. Darden turned to leave. Watching the other person leave, Luan had time to observe his room carefully. Tiny room. The total space is only a few square meters in size. It's not too bad. Here, I can practice better. Luan looked around, and then lay down on the wooden bed next to him. Next. He started today's practice task. Even if there is no systematic reminder, he is very self-disciplined and will practice hard every day. But unfortunately, the further down you go on these workouts, the lower the physical intensity you can build. Even though Luan has a 100-fold increase in cultivation, he can still feel it, along with his age and the continuous improvement of his strength. Further back, the harder it is to improve your own strength. A day of hard training makes time pass silently. In the blink of an eye. It was night. The crooked crescent moon hangs on the edge of the sky. A soft white halo shone down. Call. Lu En exhaled heavily and ended today's day-long devil-style training. Can be clearly seen. The muscle lines on his body became more and more obvious. It's not hard to imagine. In a few more years, how much will Lu En's muscles grow? It's not far from the goal of a perfect ghost back. Feeling the explosive force filling his body, Lu En showed a satisfied smile on his face. Yu Guang swept away. He glanced flatly at the black night outside the window. Tomorrow. It was when he went out hunting. Since they were new here today, the dance group didn't let Lu En go out hunting. But starting tomorrow, he will be on his own. He raised his right hand and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Then, in Lu En's ear, the system prompt sounded. A total of gains in this practice: strength plus 0.008, speed plus 0.007, physical strength plus 0.009, mental strength plus 0.1. After a 100-fold increase in the training effect, the host can obtain strength plus 0.8, speed plus 0.7, physical strength plus 0.9, mental strength plus 10. Moment. A warm current rushed to the body out of thin air. Boom. At the same time, Lu En's head roared. He feels. At this moment, the body has been improved in addition to strength, speed, and physical strength. In the dark, his thinking, perception, consciousness and other aspects have ushered in a huge surge. This is mental strength. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 6. Lu En was a little surprised by these completely unfamiliar words. The young body, after the increase of the system, the strength has been greatly improved. And Lu En can see it very keenly. At this moment, in his body, a surge of spiritual energy is being nurtured. This incomparably powerful spiritual energy, very violent. Totally out of control. It seemed to burst out of his body at any time. At this time, his body was like a repressed volcano. This surging mental energy, even he himself can't judge when it will explode. The mental power in the body is spreading out from the body little by little. Totally out of control. Lu En's pupils shrank slightly. He was completely unprepared for the sudden changes in his body. At first, this surging mental energy is like a thin stream, slowly flowing out from Lu En's body. Available over time. The spiritual energy emanating from the thin stream, turned into a surging river. Like a turbulent ocean wave. Majestic. Majestic. Fear. Mental energy turned into a strange aura, emitting from Lu En's body. Hum. Hum. And many more. Shouldn't this be? Lu En seemed to feel something, and thought of an amazing guess. In his impression, the only thing that can be linked to spiritual power. It seems that only one of the three colors of domineering, the domineering king color. Called. Among millions of people, only one person has the potential of a king. Shouldn't I have awakened the tyrannical arrogance? Not to say. Only when you face the threat of life and death, will you passively awaken the overlord? Then what am I doing now? The extremely astonishing guess that emerged in his head made Lu En very stunned. Next second, before he could calm down, an endless stream of spiritual energy suddenly burst out of his body. Like an erupting volcano. I can't control it. Lu En was helpless and could only give up struggling. Thereby, passively released, the surging spiritual energy in the body. Boom. Terrifying spiritual energy. Turned into an unparalleled terrifying aura. For a moment. Focusing on Lu En's body. This invisible and transparent gas field presents a circular arc, sweeping the sky and covering all directions. Spread inch by inch. In an instant. It has already covered the audience. Chapter 5 The Shocking Overlord shocked the audience. Destroy the Dayton family. 5 more. Mount Corpo. This is the base camp of the Dayton family, a bandit group. In the central area, stands a house. Late at night. The house is brightly lit. Golden fire light dispels the darkness around. Damn boy. In the middle of the night, let me bring you meals specially. Ace scolded, with a look of resentment. Holding a simple meal in his hand, he walked to Luan's room step by step. Since Luan didn't leave the room for a long time, Dayton asked Ace to send the meal belonging to Luan to the room where Luan was. And by the way, check it out. Luan has been hiding in the room doing what? Next time, I must beat you. Obviously. Ace still expressed his grief about what happened in the hands of Luan's defeat today. Among peers. It's the first time he's shrunk. And it still failed miserably. This naturally made Ace, who had a strong self-esteem, deeply angry and unwilling. Not to mention. In this defeat, he was killed by the opponent with one hand. To this. Ace said he couldn't accept it. He swears. One day, I must seek justice for myself. Gotta give that guy Luan some color. Hey, your meal. Coming to the door, Ace was about to raise his hand and knock on the door. But. He seemed to have thought of something, and forcibly stopped the current movement. Under the trend of inner curiosity. Ace slowly approached the door and put his ear close to the door, as if he wanted to eavesdrop on the movement in the room. Why is there no movement at all? This kid, shouldn't he have left the room long ago? Ace whispered to himself. Just as he was about to knock on the door. But right now. Without warning, boom. An unparalleled surging aura suddenly erupted from the house in front. Like raging waves. Infinity. Dangerous. Just for a moment. This invisible aura completely enveloped Ace's young body. To destroy. Destruction. This aura is terrifying. In just an instant, he rushed towards Ace's spirit and consciousness. Boom. Crush Ace's spirit and consciousness, shattered. Destroy. Then. Ace rolled his eyes. After losing consciousness, the limbs cannot be controlled. Ace's body slowly fell to the side. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 7. Thump. A dull thud. Ace fell on the floor tile, along with the saucer he was holding. Take a closer look. He had completely passed out. Not moving at all. No sound. Under the pressure of this terrifying and shocking weather field. Ace, who was only 3 years old, was obviously unable to stop this aura shock, causing his spirit and consciousness to be crushed in an instant, thus completely losing his mind and falling to the ground. At the same time. A similar thing is happening in the lobby of the room. The bandit gang headed by Dayton ate dinner happily. Good atmosphere. It's fun. Miss Dayton, is it really okay for Ace to deliver food to that guy? A thin man asked weakly. They all knew exactly what happened this morning. They know. Ace, who once made them all helpless, was killed by the new terrifying little kid Luan with just one hand. Even though Ace was only 3 years old, they never dared to treat Ace as a 3-year-old child. A 3-year-old child can break into the tiger's den alone, fighting with the beasts in the forest, and hunt alone. This, of course, is not something that an ordinary 3-year-old child can do. So. They never treated Ace like a 3-year-old. But just today. What they can't believe is. Ace was beaten by his peers with one hand. This really shocked them. Don't worry, the two brothers just need a little time to accept each other's existence. Did not expect. Cap, this bastard, actually sent a kid more terrifying than Ace. Dayton bit the thigh meat of some kind of beast in his hand. Her first sense of Luan was only 2 words. Powerful. Only 3 years old but extremely powerful. She had a hunch. Ace, I'm afraid it will be difficult to catch up with the kid named Luan. The huge gap between the two can be judged at a glance. That's good. The children Mr. Garp brought are really scary. The rest of the bandits were amazed. For Luan, they don't have much malice. Instead, the powerful strength that Luan just showed at the beginning has been initially recognized by their Dayton family. Eat yours now. Other things, you don't need to worry too much. Dayton devoured it. A group of people followed. At this time, an extremely terrifying invisible aura swept silently. Overwhelmed. Overwhelming. Boom. The terrifying aura that swept through every inch shrouded the entire lobby in an instant. All the members of the Dayton family who were devoured in the lobby, without exception, were enveloped in this terrifying aura. This aura seems to come from Joyo Hell. Amazing. Terrible. Extremely destructive and destructive. It is also aimed at the destruction of the spirit and consciousness. Then, the first person to faint appeared. This is a burly middle-aged man. As the body was enveloped by a terrifying aura. For a moment, his eyes were white, he foamed at the mouth, and his limbs were weak. He opened his mouth, as if he wanted to say something, but couldn't say it for a while. The plate in his hand slipped from his hand. Boom. A soft sound. Broken dish. Sharp. Harsh. Next second. Thump. A dull voice sounded. The burly middle-aged man fell heavily and completely passed out. With the first person who can't afford to fall to the ground, there will naturally be a second one. Next. Weird and terrifying things happened one after another in the lobby. I see. Thump. Thump. One after another, people fell frantically. One by one, their eyes rolled, foaming at the mouth, and they fell to the ground unconscious. The plates they were holding in their hands fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. Food flying. The cracked pieces of the saucer. Messy scattered all over the place. The originally noisy and lively house suddenly became dead silent. Silent. Look around. All the members of the Dayton family fell to the ground without exception, their eyes turned white, as if they had been subjected to some kind of extremely terrifying mental shock, causing their bodies to lose consciousness and thinking. On sight. Only one person can remain awake. That is Dayton. This is. Dayton's throat was dry, and the thigh of the beast gripped by his right hand froze in midair. Her eyes were wide and round, and she stared at the sudden and astonishing change in a daze. Never imagined. Everything was fine before. But all of a sudden, such an earth-shaking change was ushered in here. Gollum. He couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and an extremely terrifying guess emerged into Dan's head. That was her many years ago. A message that she had accidentally heard, has been deeply buried in her mind. Never thought. This day. The memory buried in her mind was touched. No. This terrifying force just now. Is this tyrannical domineering? Dayton's lips trembled slightly, his face full of shock. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 8. Chapter 6. Dayton, Garp, your grandson is a monster. 6 more. How is this possible? How can it be a tyrannical domineering? Who is it? It is said that among millions of people, only one person has the potential of a king. How can it appear here? Where is the holy place? Dayton forcibly suppressed the sense of panic in his heart, propped up the wooden table next to him with both hands, propped up his sturdy and fat body, and looked in a certain direction with a pair of eyes full of palpitations. She can feel it. The terrifying aura that was shocking to the world just now came from that direction. Is it Ace? As soon as the thought came to her mind, she was instantly suppressed. Immediately. Dragging her heavy body, she stepped closer. In a while. As he jumped over the members of Dayton's family who could not afford to fall to the ground, Dayton successfully came to the narrow aisle and saw Ace lying unconscious on the ground at the moment. In addition to the fainted Ace, there were countless scattered meals scattered around the ladder, as well as plates that were shattered into pieces. Obviously. Ace was also stunned. He fainted from the shock of the terrifying aura just now. Not Ace. That is to say. Seeing the fainted Ace, Dayton's throat was dry, and he could already judge the final truth in his heart. Looking away from the fainted Ace, she looked at the door beside her in front of her. Gollum. She couldn't help swallowing her saliva. At this moment, the truth was about to come out in her heart. Yes, it's him. Apart from him, there is no other person here with such potential talent. And he, who has the blood of the naval hero Garp in his body. Sure enough, you are born with the potential of a king who only appears in a million people. It just never occurred to me. At such a young age. He actually awakened the tyrannical arrogance. Dayton was shocked. The more she thought about it, the more confused her mood became. Call. Call. Constantly adjusting his breathing, Dayton resisted the shock and fear in his heart, turned around quickly, and quickly left the narrow aisle. She dragged her fat body and quickly came to the phone bug in the corner of the lobby. The footsteps came to an abrupt end. Raise your right hand. With her trembling right hand, she slowly picked up the phone bug on the desktop. Then. Dial. Boo boo. The unique call of the phone bug resounded through the huge house. This is a very quaint and clean house located in Windmill Village, where Garp lives. Late at night. The house is still brightly lit. The golden fire flickered, illuminating the surrounding environment, dispelling the dead silence and darkness in the night. Garp, who had just taken a shower, still had some water stains on his hair, and his whole body was covered with gray-white clouds and mist, steaming hot, as if he was in a sauna. Shirtless and muscular. Gives a full sense of oppression and force. Even if he is about to enter the stage of old age, Garp's bulging muscles have never retreated a bit, giving people an indestructible sense of sight like a diamond. Every muscle in his body seems to contain extremely terrifying power. When I heard the call of the phone worm outside. Garp frowned, looking slightly confused this late. Who will come to me? Could it be an old thing from the Warring States period? Confused and puzzled, Garp stepped forward, wearing a white bath towel, and walked to the hall step by step. When he came to the phone bug, he picked up the phone bug and put it to his ear. As soon as he opened his mouth, Garp said unceremoniously, "In the evening, what are you doing to find this old man in the Warring States period?" Unexpectedly. After a brief silence on the other side of the phone bug, there was a voice that surprised Garp. "Cap, it's me. It's Dayton." Hearing the Dan's voice, Garp's pupils shrank, seemingly unexpected. Well done. How could Darden find himself? Garp is convinced. If there is no important matter, the Dan, the leader of the bandit group, will never dare to come to him easily, or even avoid it. Could it be? Did Luen have an accident? Or did Ace have an accident? For a moment, Garp came up with a lot of bad guesses. Because. Apart from the above reasons, he really couldn't figure it out. What else can make Dayton take the initiative to contact him? No. What happened to those two boys? Garp's tone became anxious, and he blurted out subconsciously. One is his own grandson. The other is a grandson entrusted by the deceased to take care of. Whatever happened, it wasn't what Garp wanted to see. Cap, you misunderstood. Don't rush. Neither of them had an accident. Dayton's voice was a little weird, and he seemed to be suppressing a sense of panic. Are both of them okay? Garp was stunned for a while, his inner anxiety calmed down, and then he asked, "Then why did you come to see the old man at night? What's the matter?" "The matter is a bit complicated, and I can't explain it in a few words. I suggest that if you have time, you should come to my side immediately. After you come, you will know the ins and outs of the matter." Mysterious. Garp frowned. This was the first time in the 3 years he had entrusted Dayton to take care of Ace, the first time he heard Dayton take the initiative to contact him with a phone bug, and let him go there in the middle of the night. Something extremely important must have happened. Otherwise, Dayton would not be so inspiring. "Okay, I'm ready to go now." Garp took a deep breath and nodded. No matter what happened over there. If he didn't go there in person, he couldn't feel at ease this night. Correct. I'm here to give you a reminder first, lest you be frightened later. Before the phone bugs on both sides were about to hang up, the Dan on the opposite side said in a terrifying tone, "Your grandson is an extremely terrifying monster." Then. I haven't waited for Garp to respond. The phone bug was hung up by the Dan, who was on the opposite side. Garp, who was holding the phone bug, was stunned. As the phone bug hangs up later. The huge hall became quiet here. Garp kept reliving Darden's last words. The old man's grandson is a monster. What's the meaning? Garp was confused and foggy. In the end, what happened? Even through the phone bug, he could still feel it. Darden changed his normal. Completely different from the usual Darden. Darden tonight is very serious. Even faintly. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 9. Garp felt a strong sense of panic from the other party's voice. He had some guesses in his mind. This matter must have something to do with his two grandsons. Or rather. This matter is closely related to that kid Luen. Do not care. Go first. Without thinking too much. Garp hurriedly called the phone bug again, and said to the phone bug, "Picado, go to the Culpo Mountains with me immediately." Picado, a non-commissioned officer of the Navy, is a close and trusted subordinate of Garp, and is deeply trusted. In a while. Garp took the two of Picado, non-stop from the windmill village all the way to the Culpo Mountains at night. Chapter 7. What the hell? My grandson woke up at the age of 3. 7 more. Culpo Mountains. Late at night. A round crescent moon hangs on the horizon, emitting a soft white halo. In the deep mountains and old forests, the roars of beasts sounded everywhere. Howling tigers and wolves. Insects chirped. It had been half an hour since Cap took Picado to the Culpo Mountains. Dong dong dong. Raising his hand and knocking on the door, there was a clear and pleasant sound. Garp stood in front of the door, his brows furrowed. He was always puzzled by Darden's urgent call this time. Crunch. The door was pulled open from the inside. With the scattered golden firelight flickering, Ian showed Dan's face with lingering fears. She bit a cigarette at the corner of her mouth, and the grey smoke curled up. What happened? What happened? After seeing Darden, Garp hurried to ask. Come in and have a look. The good things your grandson has done. Darden hesitated. Then. She slowly turned to the side and made way for Garp to step into it. Followed Dan into the hall. At first glance, Garp saw the hall that had been reduced to a mess. A dozen members of the Darden family, without exception, lay unconscious on the ground. The plates in their hands fell and shattered, cracking and scattering countless pieces of debris. Food flying. Disorganized. The atmosphere is very quiet. Weird. Silent, kindness. This is. When he saw the mess at the scene clearly, Garp's pupils shrank involuntarily, and his face changed slightly. Picado, who had been following Garp all the time, also clearly saw the mess left on the scene. His face also ushered in a huge change. Both seemed to have been vaguely guessing. Only. This amazing guess made it difficult for the two of them to accept it for a while. See it? Seeing Garp's silent appearance, Darden was the first to speak. What happened? Garp asked. Can't you see it? Dan frowned. Of course the old man can see it. So. You shouldn't tell me. Everything here is done by this old man's grandson, right? Garp took a deep breath, unable to calm down. Step forward and take a look. He became more and more sure of the guess in his heart. For the fallen Darden family members at the scene, he knew all too well why these people appeared in such a state of embarrassment. One by one unconscious, eyes turned white. Foaming at the mouth. Almost without exception. See. Garp already had the answer in mind. As a naval hero, he is one of the top powerhouses in this sea. Of course, he can judge what kind of power these people have suffered before they can be completely killed in a short period of time. This power. He's seen it more than once. Have seen it many times. Even. I have experienced this power more than once or twice. Then. When chasing down the most vicious pirates in the sea, Garp encountered many powerful pirates with this terrifying power. In. The two strongest. They all have this power in their hands. And the two big pirates have brought this mastery to the top. As Garp, you said. All of this was done by your grandson. Darden tells the truth. Is it Ace? Garp asked. Ace is the orphan left by one of the two great pirates. So. If Ace has such potential, Garp can accept it. After all. Ace's father. It's Roger One Piece. No, you guessed wrong. It's your grandson. Luen. Even Ace, who delivered meals to this kid Luen, was instantly stunned by this kid's explosive aura on the way. Darden shook his head. This. Garp breathed a sigh of relief. He knows. His grandson Luen's talent has always been very high. Otherwise. It is also impossible to subdue Ace, the son of Roger, with one hand among his peers. But he never imagined. His own grandson, Luen, was so terrifying. The Overlord is domineering. Garp looked at Darden. Didn't you already guess? Apart from the legendary domineering Overlord, how can an ordinary 3-year-old child do this, killing all creatures within a radius of hundreds of meters in an instant? The Dan exhaled heavily with a complicated look on his face. But he's only 3 years old. Garp's shaky mood couldn't be calmed down. An example of a 3-year-old awakening the domineering in domineering? What is this concept? Rao is a well-informed Garp, who can't imagine it for a while. I, the grandson of Garp, scared Luffy into tears. Chapter 10. Only because. This is amazing. Spread out. I'm afraid it will cause a sensation in this sea. Yes. Only 3 years old. It just awakened the king's potential that only one person in a million people has. Should I say something? Dayton looked at Garp and exclaimed, are all the people in your family monsters? You and your son Long. Now, even your grandson, a mere 3-year-old hairy boy, has already made his debut, awakening the legendary Overlord. Heard. Garp was speechless. He had to admit. At the age of 3, I woke up to the Overlord color. Such an example is really too subversive to cognition. Even the well-informed Garp was shocked by the current scene, simply put. My grandson, Luen, woke up to the Overlord when he was only 3 years old. Does this count as setting a precedent? Refreshed the record of the earliest awakening Overlord in history. And it's still a natural awakening. The whole process was completely unstimulated by any external force. Garp was stunned. For the current situation, even he had to mention a word. Luen is such a monster. On Garp's side. The young Picado looked at the mess on the scene, and there was a deep shock in his eyes. As expected of Lieutenant General Garp's grandson. Awakened Overlord at the age of 3. This terrifying talent is truly amazing. Unseen in the past. Chapter 8. This kid, Luen, really cheers up the old man. 8 more. Ask for flowers. Ask for a ticket. Luen, what about others? After a while, Garp calmed down a little, and asked. Still in his room. Darden answered truthfully. Next. She took Garp to the door of Luen's room. Raise your hand and knock on the door. Dong dong dong. A muffled voice echoed through the narrow hallway. Boy Luen, your grandpa is here. Darren opened his mouth. In a while. Crunch. The door was pushed open from the inside. Luen saw Garp and Dayton at first glance, as well as a non-commissioned officer with a relatively unfamiliar face. At last. Yuguang swept away. He saw Ace lying in the aisle not far away. Cough cough. With a dry cough, Luen eased the awkward atmosphere. In order to express his apology, he had to take the lead in explaining, "I didn't do this on purpose. The power just burst out from the body and was completely uncontrollable." Heard. Garp nodded in understanding. Of course the old man knows that this power will not be under your control for the time being. If you can even control this power, the old man will take you to the Navy headquarters immediately. At the beginning of the awakening of the Overlord, it is obviously impossible to control this power immediately. This requires an iterative and gradual process. Basically, all the people who control the domineering and domineering are all like this. You know. What's the name of this power you just exploded? Garp asked. Before Luan could answer, Garp was the first to speak again. It's called the tyrannical domineering. It is said that among millions of people, only one person has the potential of a king. Even if you look at this sea, there are endless vicious pirates, and there are countless powerful navies. But there are only very few people who have the domineering look of overlords. Among a million people, there is only one example. Now, do you know how rare the power you command is? Luan nodded, understood. Of course he knew that this was the Overlord. Paused. Garp took a deep look at Luan and said earnestly, "This force is extremely powerful, and it may cause a lot of burden on your current body. So, don't use this power unless you have to. It's easy to accidentally hurt yourself, and it's easy to accidentally hurt others. When the time is right, the old man will find someone to teach you how to use this power properly." Luan nodded again. Right now, he is indeed still unable to freely display his tyrannical arrogance. The tyrannical arrogance just now was only due to the eruption of the mental aura that the body could not control. Want to completely control the Overlord color? Luan thought. You may need further practice. But, with 100 times the effect of cultivation, he does not think that it is difficult to completely control the Overlord. On the contrary, he is confident. Even if he doesn't need the teaching of outsiders, within a month, he will be able to successfully control the Overlord's color. Next, Garp solemnly instructed Luan not to overtrain and cause irreversible dark injuries to the body, leaving huge hidden dangers to the body. Then, Garp left with Picado. What happened tonight was enough to make him unable to calm down his trembling mood for a short period of time. Watching Garp leave, Luan helplessly looked at the mess left in the house. Boy Luan, you must never explode that power again in the future. The people here can't stand your toss. Even if I. It's just a fluke, and I didn't get stunned by your outburst of Overlord color. Dan couldn't help but speak. Recall. The feeling of being enveloped by the domineering arrogance of the king just now made her shudder. If there is another time. She has no confidence. It can block the shock of this terrifying aura. At the end of the day, she is just a little bandit leader. Even if it is a weak Overlord, it is not something she can block if she wants to. Don't worry, it won't happen again. Luan nodded in response. That's good. Let me clean up the mess here. Go back to rest first. I think about it, you who just awakened the domineering arrogance, you must be very tired both physically and mentally. Now, you need to take a good rest, and don't leave hidden injuries and hidden dangers. Darden's face was serious. Thanks. Luan looked at Darden's concerned cheek, and for a while, the vicious face of the other party seemed extraordinarily kind, which made him feel a little warm. Although a group of bandits. But in fact, every member of the Darden family, including Darden, is not generally friendly to the Garp family. Turn around. Luan returned to the room, lay on the wooden bed, looked out the window, his eyelids became heavier and heavier.